Breaking news: federal workforce and global trade, shaken by controversial cuts in tariff policies. Welcome to Pulse of the World, your trusted source for in-depth news analysis. Today we dive into an escalating crisis that has sent shockwaves through Washington, economic markets, and households across America. From sweeping federal employee layoffs to the consequences of unpredictable trade policies, what's unfolding now is not just a bureaucratic shakeup. It's a moment that could redefine the balance between innovation, government stability, and global diplomacy. Elon Musk, now heading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, has implemented aggressive cost-cutting strategies, many of which have drawn immediate outrage from lawmakers, government workers, and labor unions. One of the most explosive revelations is a proposal to lay off 83,000 employees from the Veterans Administration. That's right, 83,000 jobs potentially cut from an agency that serves America's veterans. Critics, including Senator Bernie Sanders, argue this isn't just irresponsible governance. It's an outright betrayal of the promises made to those who served in uniform. Sanders, a longtime critic of unchecked privatization and workforce austerity, voiced a blistering response. Speaking directly to federal employees, he acknowledged their service and expressed deep concern over what he called Musk's chainsaw approach to employment reform. Sanders warned that these layoffs are not based on performance data or efficiency audits, but rather a sweeping ideological crusade aimed at minimizing the role of government. He issued a sobering warning to workers everywhere, not just those in the public sector. If Elon Musk can do this to federal employees, many of whom are unionized and have years of service, what do you think he's going to do when artificial intelligence and robotics come for your job? Sanders said. The implications are dire. In his view, this is not just about federal payroll. It's about the future of labor in an age dominated by billionaire technocrats who show little regard for working-class Americans. The economic side effects of Musk's federal restructuring efforts are already being felt. In stores like Target, price increases are becoming more noticeable. And it's not just groceries or household items. Economists warn that the president's broad tariff strategies could add thousands of dollars to the price of consumer electronics, including iPhones. The White House has framed these tariffs as a strategy to revive American manufacturing, but many experts argue that the added costs will fall squarely on the shoulders of working families. Internationally, the picture is equally troubling, with the president maintaining a 10% tariff on most nations and up to 25% on imports from China, Mexico, and Canada. Long-standing trade relationships are deteriorating. Canada, America's closest ally and neighbor, is no longer just annoyed. They're actively boycotting American goods. In Sanders' home state of Vermont, which shares a border with Canada, residents have observed a visible decline in cross-border commerce. The administration's dismissive tone toward foreign leaders only adds fuel to the fire. Referring to Canada's prime minister as a governor and suggesting that Canada might become the 51st state of the U.S. are not only diplomatic faux pas, they are humiliations that damage America's standing on the world stage. Sanders lamented that the global perception of the U.S. is shifting from admiration to confusion. They used to say, "We want to be like America." Now they say, "What is America doing?" Beyond foreign relations, the administration's focus on rooting out so-called waste, fraud, and abuse has also come under scrutiny. While Musk and his DOGE team have published what they call a wall of receipts, many of the so-called cost-saving measures are riddled with errors. Items listed as major cuts often turn out to be accounting mistakes or gross misinterpretations of federal budgets. Sanders acknowledged that the government is not free of waste, no institution is, but warned against using flawed data as justification for gutting public services. The conversation then shifts to the role of technology in modern governance. Sanders expressed concern over the growing influence of figures like Musk, who approach governance with the same mindset they use in private enterprise. "We're not a tech startup, we're a democracy," Sanders said. While innovation and efficiency are important, he emphasized that policy must prioritize people, not profits. This story takes on even more urgency as artificial intelligence and automation continue to evolve. Musk himself is among those promoting the use of AI across various industries. But according to Sanders, neither Musk nor his allies have offered serious plans to protect workers who will be displaced by these technologies. They don't give a damn about you, he declared, referring to average Americans whose jobs are at risk. Unless policymakers act now, he warned, millions of workers could find themselves unemployed, while billionaires consolidate even more wealth. The crisis at the Veterans Administration is particularly emotional. Veterans rely on this agency for vital health care and benefits. With cuts looming, there is widespread fear that access to these services will be delayed or degraded. Sanders reminded viewers of the moral commitment made to veterans, men and women who risk their lives for the country. Slashing the workforce that serves them is not just financially unsound, it's a moral failing. When asked about trade policy, Sanders reiterated his opposition to blanket tariffs and to trade agreements like NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership. While he agrees that targeted tariffs can help protect American jobs, he criticized the administration's current strategy as erratic and counterproductive. You can't just slap tariffs on every country on Earth and call it policy, he said. Instead, Sanders advocates for carefully negotiated trade deals that protect labor rights, environmental standards, and domestic production. He pointed out that past trade agreements have devastated communities by allowing corporations to offshore jobs to countries with lower wages and fewer protections. The result? Millions of lost manufacturing jobs in the hollowing out of America's industrial heartland. Sanders' remarks resonate because they reflect growing anxiety among workers, public and private alike. The sense that billionaires are making decisions with little accountability is fueling unrest across the political spectrum. In town halls and public forums, the same question keeps surfacing: what happens to us? The implications of these sweeping changes extend well beyond borders. America's global leadership, once admired for its democratic values and economic opportunity, is now under the microscope. Allies are reassessing their trust in U.S. leadership. Businesses are reevaluating their investments. Even the global public is watching with increasing uncertainty. Adding another layer to the debate is the digital surveillance and workplace tracking technology that Musk's department is reportedly testing. Anonymous sources from within the federal workforce claim that new software capable of tracking keystrokes and webcam activity has been installed on government-issued laptops. Although officials deny these claims, civil liberties groups are raising alarms. This combination of layoffs, tariffs, surveillance, and automation paints a picture of a radically shifting power dynamic. At the heart of it is the American worker, facing uncertainty, instability, and a lack of representation in decisions that profoundly affect their livelihoods. With midterm elections on the horizon, voters will soon have their say. Grassroots organizations are mobilizing, labor unions are organizing protests. Politicians across the spectrum are being pressed for clarity. The next few months will likely determine the direction of this administration's policies and potentially the future of the federal government as we know it. This political saga is about more than policy. It's about identity. It's about what kind of country America wants to be in the era of emerging technologies, rapid global shifts, and billionaires who can, with a single decision, upend the lives of thousands. This is about principles, about fairness, inclusion, and dignity in labor. It's about whether government remains a tool for the people or becomes a platform for personal empires. And now the pressure on Congress is mounting. Will lawmakers act as a check against the DOGE's sweeping reforms, or will political calculations once again outweigh the needs of ordinary citizens? Committees are forming, hearings are being scheduled. Behind closed doors, negotiations are happening. Yet the public waits and watches. We at Pulse of the World will continue to follow this developing story as it unfolds, examining every angle and giving voice to those who are most affected. If you believe in the value of honest journalism, if you want to stay informed about the shifts shaping your world, economic, political, and cultural, then we invite you to become part of our community. Subscribe to our channel, Pulse of the World, and turn on notifications so you never miss a critical update. Join the conversation in the comments. Share your perspective. Ask the tough questions. Because now more than ever, being informed isn't optional. It's essential. This isn't just the news. This is your world in motion. Thanks for watching. Stay alert, stay informed, stay with Pulse of the World.